The first item is consider approving a resolution providing for rabies control, licensing of dogs, restraint of animals running at large, restraint of dangerous dogs, prohibition of disturbing the peace and quiet, impoundment and disposition of animals, establishing penalties for violations of such provisions, and repealing resolutions and ordinance in conflict herewith. So we have Matt Lewis, our Justice Service Director, here to present. Good morning, Matt.
Good morning again. Matt Lewis, Criminal Justice Services Department. I am going to ask that you consider adopting a new county resolution, but wanted to take through and explain how we got here, the changes in the resolution, and then answer any questions you may have. So if you'll recall back to July 2nd, I stood in front of you and we went through a plan to really separate the enforcement side and the shelter side of animal services, with the enforcement side moving to our respective law enforcement and the shelter operations, exploring whether or not we had a vendor that might be interested to contract for those services, and if not, retaining those for Mesa County. We have indeed noticed all of our municipalities, and that happened shortly after the July 2nd approval that you gave. And we are pursuing a request for proposals for Mesa County shelter operations now. I do not have an update, but that closes this Friday, and so I'll have an update shortly after that for you. Today, we're here to really consider repealing our current resolution effective January 1 and enacting a new resolution that gives the authority to do some of the things that we described. I wanted to give you an update on that, and then that, if it is adopted today, would give the authority for the Sheriff's Office to begin enforcement operations starting January 1st, 2025. So this just lists the need for some of these, and this is contained within the resolution that has been proposed. But truthfully, this is about bringing this into compliance with changes in Colorado law. This is about granting authority that we've discussed to the Sheriff's Office, and I'll highlight some of the specific changes in there. The first I just hit on, currently the Sheriff's Office does not have the ability to enforce this as the Animal Services resolution is written, and so it necessitated a rewrite. The second thing we tackled, we figured if we're going to rewrite it, why not spend countless hours rewriting everything? And so we tackled our definitions. Some of the definitions of note was the animal control officer, that now includes deputy sheriffs for the Mesa County Sheriff's Office, and broadens that definition to be in compliance with what we've talked about. We've also taken into consideration some of the problems we've had in the past with prosecutions under the DA's office with this current resolution. And an example of that I have up here, which is the owner, where you might leave your pet animal with another human being who is caring for that animal. That animal gets out from their place, but some of it is a little ambiguous about who's responsible for that. Is it the caretaker, or is it the owner who may be on vacation at the time? And so we've cleaned up that language to really support the person responsible at that given time. This also allows the option, which we're currently exploring, for animal services shelter operations to be contracted out. And if the board were to choose to do that, this would provide that pathway to do so. We worked, as I said, with the DA's office extensively, and I've got some people to thank there, to really make this something that is easy to understand and easy to prosecute when people are cited under this resolution. One of the big changes that you'll see in here is our noise ordinance. We had barking dog, and barking dog is always a source of concern for our citizens. We had a barking dog area in our previous resolution, or excuse me, in our current resolution. We've now tied that to an existing and already approved Mesa County noise ordinance. And it seemed a little bit counterintuitive that a person could rent a backhoe and drive that thing all they want on their property during daytime hours, but a dog could not bark on that property without it being subject to some level of scrutiny by Animal Services. And so what we've done is align those two. And so noise now under a barking dog would fall under our noise ordinance and only apply to certain hours of the day and when it can be heard at a property line. And so trying to bring those two things into alignment, especially with our sheriff's office taking over enforcement, they are intimately familiar with the Mesa County noise ordinance and enforcing that. We also removed rehoming. Rehoming had to do with people who are selling animals, a litter of puppies, kittens, whatever the case may be. And as we looked at this, we really felt like, especially with the sheriff's office, we have other tools to deal with this. And this deals with people who are selling these in a public venue. For example, the parking lot of one of our big box stores here locally, sometimes you will see people who are selling animals there. And it required a permitting process, or it required quite a bit of governmental intervention on the front end in order to make that okay. And we've removed that and simply will handle that as needed with our sheriff's office partners, using trespass and using current things that are already tools we have and they're very familiar with. It also takes away that sometimes onerous permitting process on the front end that people have to interact with government needlessly, quite frankly. We took this opportunity to update our fees. I won't pretend to say that our fees are sufficient. This is a meager increase in fees that you'll see in this proposed resolution, and it's just designed to offset some of the continual increase in costs of care, food, grooming, veterinary medicines, those type of things that we utilize at the shelter. And so you'll see those. And then the last was to remove and dissolve the advisory board for animal services. That board has been met with. They're aware. They were not reappointed and will not continue. We certainly thank them for their service. They have been a resource to connect us with our community and have been wonderful partners to us. Many of them expressed the idea that they would like to continue to volunteer in a different capacity, and we would welcome that. But with this going to two different organizations, it would be inappropriate to have a single advisory board over an elected official. So that has been removed. I want to take an opportunity. You'll see some names on the screen, and I will tell you the product that you are considering adopting today is it really is countless hours of work on behalf of a lot of people. But specifically, I want to thank Sheriff Todd Rao, Division Chief Art Smith, and Captain Eric Sperber at the Mesa County Sheriff's Office. Those guys have been and continue to be intimately involved in this transition that is not a simple transition to stand up a program and make it look different and make it effective for our community under a completely different organization. From our county attorney in our DA's office, County Attorney Todd Starr, Assistant County Attorney David Schwenke, and Chief Deputy DA Michael Fisher. And these gentlemen were instrumental in ensuring that this, one, complied with current law, and any updates that had taken place since we last visited, as well as countless revisions to ensure that it was something appropriate for you to consider today. And then last but certainly not least, our animal services staff, our manager out there, Doug Fry, as well as our administrative office manager, Donna Draper, who gathered just a tremendous amount of the information needed to be contained in this so that we could even begin. And then lastly, I wanted to address one piece of really some citizen feedback that we continue to hear as you approve this and separate enforcement and shelter operations. One of the pieces of information we continue to hear is, how do I know who to call? What if I don't know where I am? What if I don't know where the dog came from? These things continue to be heard, and I just want to reassure our public and reassure you as commissioners that this is designed and intended to be a single point of contact for all of our citizens. Just like a traffic accident, if you were involved in a traffic accident and happen to not know what cross street you're on, you don't have to know. You simply call either the non-emergency or, in cases of an emergency, 911, and the appropriate resource is sent to you. Animal services will function the same way. If it's an emergency, you would call 911. If it's not an immediate emergency, you call the non-emergency dispatch number. They will determine your location. They will determine the appropriate resource and ensure that it gets to you to handle that. Okay. So with that, I would respectfully ask that you consider adopting the resolution as presented in the agenda packet.
Thank you, Director Lewis. Commissioners, do you have any comments or questions at this time?
Not at this time.
No, a lot of work has been put into this, and we're a growing community, and this is definitely a need for a long time. So well done, Matt.
Thank you.
Yeah, we appreciate all your hard work. Is there any public comment during this time? Okay. Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the item as entered into the record.
I did want to make comments, but I wanted to wait until after.
Please
Sorry,
do.
sorry.
Yes,
I just
please
wanted to
do.
thank Matt for taking leadership in this area, both for public safety and staff safety. It makes sense to have law enforcement do the enforcement, and for noise issues, as you mentioned. And I'm really glad to see the requirement of a permit to sell puppies being removed if the stores are okay with it and the people are okay with it. Government shouldn't be involved. And certainly for shelter services, it makes sense to have the public or not private or nonprofit sectors involved with that. So thank you for this, and I support it.
Commissioner Davis, you can.
I'm good, thank you.
Okay. I will entertain a motion to approve the item as entered into the record.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.